YouTube. Give it a second. Okay. Is it connecting? Okay. I forgot I turned everything off over the weekend when we were twitching, so there it is. Lots of different things going on today. Let's see. Make sure that is good and ready. Okay, we're going to start here in just another minute. Just sort of finessing a little bit. Hey, Kathy, I think I figured it out. Let's see if it focuses for us now. Okay, wait, I'll show you here. Getting there. A lot closer than what I did this weekend. So if you guys are just joining us, we were Zooming all day yesterday, for those of you who missed out, and was twitching and doing some experimenting on Saturday. Okay, let's check and see. It shows connecting, so I'm going to leave it there. If it doesn't publish there, it's fine. I'm not so worried. So I don't think I'm on live on my Facebook personal page, but we'll see. So I'm going to start here in just about 30 seconds and making sure Andy is up and you're good otherwise. Okay. All right, give me 1 second. Say something for me? Okay. Okay. Hi everyone, today is Monday, March 1st. Woohoo! It is March and spring is definitely coming. This is week 50. I believe this comes close to marking the 1-year anniversary of the pandemic hitting the United States. So, I don't know. Something to behold, but hey, the sun is shining. We're all here. Most of us are healthy, which is good. I know that Andy and I are doing good, so we're going to keep plugging forward and seeing what the rest of this year brings to us. So pretty exciting that Metal Immersion Vienna is booked full and is on wait list. So if you're still interested in going to Vienna with us, we are taking a list for wait list. It's not till December, but you know, we're planning early and I'm starting to make plans for 2022 because I think that's where we're headed. And the rest of this year, you know, a few things coming up, including Studio 36 in Pottstown, Pennsylvania is coming up in a couple weeks. So if you haven't registered for that, there's still a little bit of time to register for that. And then let's see, next month we're going to White Plains, New York for an in-person class, and then we're going out to Salt Lake City in May to join Stephanie Chavez in her studio for in-person classes. So lots of little in-person classes here intermittently through the rest of the year, and we're excited to do that. Today is Motley Metal Mondays, our continual series of enameling, and we're going to do enamel beads today. So I'm pretty excited about that. It's been a long time since I've done it. In fact, so this morning I had to brush up. It's been so long since I've done it, right? So this morning I took some time and played with some beads and made sure I knew what the heck I was doing before we went live, because that would be bad if I didn't. So let's get started and jump in as today is the Baubles project. By the way, if you had ordered the Motley metal kit, there's still some available if you haven't yet, and you can always watch the videos that I had done previously in the last 4 or 5 weeks, and then of course we have a few more to go. You would have, anyway, so the kit, you would have gotten some beads, a little variety of different shapes and sizes, and just to play with. And what else do you need today? You're going to need a torch. Now, does it matter what kind of torch you use? Yes and no. You need a really hot torch, okay? So you can definitely, you know, we like these pistol torches because it puts out a lot of heat, and Andy is posting all of the links. If you don't have some of these items, we have them on our website at theironbeater.com, but Andy is posting the direct links to some of these items, including the pistol torch. But I like the pistol torch because it's handy and it's available. It's easy to get to. It's easy to buy the butane and whatnot. You can definitely use a MAP gas torch. Some people say that you can't use a butane torch, which frankly, I've proven them wrong over and over again. If you have MAP gas, you can definitely use that, but you don't have to go to MAP gas if you already have a butane torch. You can definitely use a acetylene or propane. Just remember that those are a little bit dirtier, and therefore there's a bit of soot. Sometimes that soot will get absorbed by the enamel and muddy up your color. So you have to play with that a little bit, and it is really, really, really hot, so you have to be a little bit careful and maybe turn that down a little bit or come away from the torch a little bit more. We'll talk about that a little bit more as I go along. But the one torch that I really don't care for this particular project is this one. It's a butane torch, but I feel that the flame is just a little bit too small, and it doesn't give us enough ample heat, enough volume really for this to work. So that said, I like these torches. Okay, so what else do you need today? You'll need a steel awl. And as much heat as we're putting out, you know, these don't get all that hot. It will get hot to about just almost half, but I can definitely hold it on the end and get through my project without worrying about burning my hands. You don't want to use an awl that has, of course, a plastic handle because it's going to melt. But the key to this awl versus another awl is that the point tapers, you see. So it'll when you put the beads in, it'll tighten on there. You don't want something too cylindrical because it's just slide back and forth. You want something that it'll tighten onto. So I'll have 2 of those, and then you need some sort of a metal container that you can put your enamel into. Here I have bead scoops. We do have these on our website if you're interested. I like the bead scoops because they're metal, 1. 2, which is what's really great about them, is when you're done using it, look at this. You can just pour it right back into the container. Another advantage. And they're not particularly expensive, but you do need some sort of a metal container. Some people will just use a metal can, like a tomato, a can, the tin cans that your tomato sauce comes in, or whatever can you want. You can use that. Or if you happen to have a metal bowl, this one is just a little bit big, but they do come smaller. And I like to keep a metal bowl on the side here so that when I'm done with them, the beads, I have something to put them in while they're still hot. So a metal bowl is really good. A glass bowl is a little sketchy, and definitely no plastic, okay? So you'll need that. Some enamel. Opaque enamel is best here. If you don't want to use opaque enamels, you'll need to start with some sort of a white, whether it's titanium white, and that's 1030, or 1020, I'm sorry, 1020 Thompson titanium white, or foundation white, which is 1030. So a base color to go with, base white color to go with your transparent is optimal, because your beads are a little dark and those transparents aren't going to show up really well. So I have a tendency to keep with the opaque. So today I'm working with Peacock and Bitter Green are the 2 that I'm using. And we have these great beads here. What can you use? So these are low iron steel beads, and we have these on our website. We have, I don't know, 5 or 6 different size and shapes that you can choose from. 7, Andy says, 7 different size and shapes that you can choose from. Okay, so those are fun. But here's where we are headed. So we are going to enamel them and make them into all these funky colors. Now you'll also find, here's another key to this, okay, you'll also find that some colors work better than others. Not all colors are great in this, so I'm finding that the really nice dark colors are great. The pinks, not so much, it get really muddy. So, okay, that's it. That's the information. By the way, if you have any questions, Andy is with me, and he will relay your questions in the chats and whatnot, because I have a tendency not to read them, because I try not to get too distracted, but I can't see most of them, and I definitely can't see your name, so I don't know who's saying it to me. So Andy will relay your questions to me if you have any. But let's just go ahead and jump in. I'm going to do several today, and I'm going to change video positions so that you can see what's going on. So let's put that aside. So first of all, let's talk about safety, okay? So where you position these bowls is important. Notice they're on my right because I'm right hand dominant, right? I don't want to put them here because I'm going to have to dip in there, and I don't want to go under my torch. I definitely don't want to go over my torch because that's a little dangerous. So you want to make sure you know where everything is. Okay, so grab a bead. I'm going to start with one of these. Oops. And you're going to shove this all in there. Actually, you know what? I didn't clean off my awl. I'm going to switch out. Here, I'll switch to this one. I'll show you how to clean that here in a minute. And notice I'm just going to shove the bead in until it's nice and tight, like so. And so it doesn't really come off very easily, because what's going to happen is you're going to heat this, heat it, and we're going to dip it right here into our enamel. And because of the motion of moving it so much, you don't want it to be loose, or else it's going to come off your awl, right? So for light colors, I have a tendency to start with white first to give it a nice base, and it gives it a little bit more of a pure color. All right, let's just sort of jump in here. So you're going to bring your bead right up to that blue flame, and you see it's already turning red. You want it to be bright, bright red, because you need it to be really, really hot, and move very quickly right down to the bead. You see that? To the enamel. And notice how it sticks right onto your bead, because the metal is so hot that the glass is already starting to fuse to it. And so it's grabbing right onto the metal bead. Okay, and then I'm going to do one more layer. Again, get it really nice, bright, hot, and dip it. Wow. I'm going to need more enamel. I didn't realize I ran out of enamel. So now that I have that nice coat on there, notice how I'm pulling away from that blue flame, right? So I'm out here, and I'm going to get it a little bit hotter, and I'm going to dip it into my color, just like so. And notice how I'm tap, 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 so that it doesn't clog up all my little holes. And you can do as many layers as you want. It gets much more interesting the more layers you add. And notice again, I'm away from the flame, and I'm going to get this to red and glossy. And that's the only way that the enamel is going to stick. This is an immersion process, right? Just remember to continue to tap, or else all those little holes are going to get clogged up. Okay, there we are. And what am I on? Third round here. I want a really nice layer. Don't put your hand in front of the torch, definitely not. Keep it safe. And if you have holes that seem to be clogged up, just take out your awl and poke the holes. You can definitely do that. And open up those holes. There we go. One last round. So you'll need about an ounce of enamel in your containers. So now we're just going to heat it until it gets nice and glossy. And Once it's all nice and glossy, we're going to, oops, stick this in here and pull it out while it's still soft before the enamel gets hard. And notice I'm twisting my awl to get it out. And we're going to stick it right in here to cool, and you'll see the color come up here in just a second. You know what? I ran out of some titanium. I'll be right back. Okay, a little bit more titanium in there. So you'll see, here it comes. There we have it, an enamel bead. Let's do that again. Okay. So if you get your awls a little bit dirty with enamel, let it cool. You can go ahead and quench that. It's not a big deal either. And then we're going to pull out our chain nose pliers, and I'm simply going to like squeeze on there, and all that enamel will break right off. And if this feels funky to you and you don't want to do it, take out a nasty pair of pliers that you don't like and do that with that. So, you know, if it doesn't feel good to use your Lindstroms to do this, it's fine. Just use an old pair of pliers. Okay. Okay. So what I did again is I took my pliers, and because I have a bunch of enamel on there, let's come a little closer and you can see what I'm doing. There we go. And I'm just squeezing down and breaking off that enamel, because remember, it's glass, right? So I'm just cleaning up my awls a little bit because it got some enamel stuck on there. No big deal. There we go. All right, let's go back out. All right, so I'm going to do it again, and I'm going to do it from a different angle, so maybe you can see better what I am doing. Okay. Let's see. There we are. Okay. Okay, so again, you're going to take out your awl, and you'll put your bead on there. So this is a different shape altogether, right? Let's see, can you see that? So this is the Brocade bead. I love this one, I don't know why. It reminds me of a donut. It's all about the food. Okay, so when you're doing this, by the way, what you don't know is in front of me is a very shallow bench, I'll say. There's a lot of stuff in front of me, so what I did do is I went ahead and I put a cookie sheet in front of my torch so that whatever is behind it, around it, doesn't get torched, right? So just sort of be careful of where your torch is pointing, and be safe about it, and understand how far that torch is reaching, so you don't, again, burn up your bench, right? So, okay, so we're going to do this again. Tighten that in there. Okay, so turn on the torch full blast and heat it. Remember, we need to get this really, really bright red, because the only way that the enamel is going to stick is to get this really hot, because basically it's fusing immediately to the metal, right? So get that nice and hot and dip. And again, I'm working right at the blue tip until I get to my second or third layer, right? So that was the first layer. Get it nice and hot again, and notice I'm going in from the back and coming in from the front, but I'm not torching at my hands. I'm dipping and I'm tapping and I'm rotating my awl as I'm going. And then now I'm moving out a little bit here. So notice I'm not next to the blue torch or the blue flame in the middle. I'm away from it. because when you put it to the blue flame, once you have enamel on there, it muddies up the color, right? So I just wanted to torch it gently is what I'm doing. And this will give it time to fuse, because remember, butane burns at approximately 2,500 degrees, and we only need to get this to 1,500 to fuse. So if we're moving out here, it will just work. So I think I'm on my 5th layer, and I'm going to probably stop at 5. And I'm dipping, 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 and tapping, not being a great tapper, and just moving along, so, okay. And you're going to keep torching until it gets glossy, and once it's glossy, stick in an awl, and pull it out, just like that. Okay. I know that wasn't really great because of the camera, but I'll switch it out for you. Okay, so here we are. There was the first one. You see, I know the color is really muddy right now, but it should brighten up and look nice and bright like this one once it cools. So don't panic if when it's still warm, it looks a little funky. Okay, so we're going to put that down there. Now, another thing too is sometimes when you buy these beads, they'll break. And that's okay, because you know what's really cool about it is you can make bead caps. And I will show you a bead cap. So here, oops, you can see that's a bead cap. Okay, you know, granted a very big bead cap, but a bead cap nonetheless. Oops. So here, I have a whole bag of miscellaneous broken beads. Okay, so like this one. And then like this one was part of the brocade one, so it's a little bit flat. So you know what? Just put it into a dap and dap it if you want it to be a little bit more round. But we'll go ahead and do this one too. Okay. And again, I have a lot of enamel on my awl, so I'm just gonna squeeze down on it with my pliers and clean that off for a second here. You can file it off too, but I find that this is the easiest way to do it. Put it in the hole, nice and tight. Okay. So notice how this one goes a lot further down because the hole is a little bit bigger. Okay. Find your position, heat it again, really, really, really hot. Now some of these beads, they come coated. However, the ones that you get from us are not coated, so you can just start working right away. If they are coated, you know, or plated, you want to make sure you burn all of it off. So this process of heating at this point and getting it bright red will help burn it all off, okay? To get nice and hot and get a good amount of enamel on there. So again, because the metal is so hot, basically, because the metal is so hot, basically the enamel is fusing immediately onto that metal, and that's how it's sticking. Okay, so we'll go this way. Okay, keep heating and dipping until you're happy. Just like so. And notice again, I'm working away from that blue flame at this point now that I have color on there. You don't want to work at the blue flame, okay? Okay, so the question is, are the kits, the enamel color kits, is that enough to do this? It's marginal because that's a 1/4 ounce, and really working with at least 1/2 ounce to an ounce is most ideal. Okay, so I got that off of there. So this is where 2 awls are really great for this project. And you'll see here, my piece has cooled. How cool is that, huh? So obviously I was a little ambitious with my enamel, and some of my holes have closed up, but that's okay. It gives a little character. So I'm gonna do one more just because I can. I think this is a great little process. Again, it's called an immersion process, right? Immersion technique. There was a little old man down in Florida who developed this process years and years ago. The last time I talked to him was about, thinking 6, 7 years ago. He was like 90. I get a feeling he's probably not with us anymore. Just saying. Okay, so into the awl, nice and tight. You'll find that you'll find success with some colors and not others, so you'll have to do a little bit experimenting. The colors that work best are in the jewel tone series. The opaques in there are some of the best colors to use. Okay, you want the nice dark but yet bright colors, right? Cobalt is a great color. Iris is a great color too for purple. This is bitter green that I'm using. Okay, so tap, tap, tap. That will get it out of the holes if you tap it. Okay, so a couple questions. One, will metal condiment cups work? That's a really good idea. Had I ever thought of that? I would have done that. Yeah, that's a really good, yeah, I'm going to say yes, that will work really well because they're nice and small and they're small and tall. So then your enamel won't spread apart. And then the other question is, what's the base metal for this bead? It's low iron steel. Okay. You can use copper, but you got to make sure that it is pure copper. Okay. And that is not copper plated, because you can't just use like pot metal or white metal. It'll just melt, and it doesn't work with enamel anyway. So you got to stick with either, well, you don't want to be doing silver, trust me on that one, but you got to stick with silver, copper, or low iron steel for this to work. Okay, so there it is, nice and bright, lovely holes. Again, if you want to clear out your holes, you can. So I'm going to stick this in here gently and gently pull that off while it's still warm, like so. Twisting, twisting, twisting. There we are. Okay. I always want to grab these. Like, I just want to grab the bead. Don't do that. Go ahead and quench these and keep yourself safe. You don't want to quench the beads because the enamel will just pop off, right? So a few keys here. Again, you want to use opaques. They work the best. If you don't use opaques and you want to go into a transparent, you want to use a white, either foundation white or titanium, 1030 or 1020, and start with a base white and then dip it into the transparent. I can't say that I've had any great success doing it that way, but it does create some nice variances in the color, and you want to make sure that you're using some sort of a low iron steel. Again, we have a ton of these on our website because I was really into it for a while there. So, and we were doing classes. So it's been quite a few years since we've done them, but there's a lot of different sizes and shapes and designs. So it should meet everybody's needs. anyway, if anything comes broken or if you have any broken beads, you can definitely use them for, you can still do it and use it for a bead cap, okay? And what else we got, honey? I think that's it. It was a really, really quick demo today. So if you have any other questions, do shout out. Thank you to everybody who is subscribing on Twitch. I just got a note that if you're having a problem subscribing on Twitch, log off and then log back on, and Amazon will let you resubscribe. So for all those who are subscribing, we really appreciate your support. For everybody else, you know, if you would like to show your support, you can support us by either contributing directly on the link that is provided, or you can just buy a download. It's a great way to keep us going, and heck, they're already written and they're out there. If you have missed out on the Motley Metal Kit, you can still get it, and you'll get all the written instructions with it, but you have to purchase that. So what do we have coming up? We have coming up this weekend, it's the first time we're doing a Saturday Zoom due to request, and we are doing this. We are doing the band together. It's either the bracelet, which comes around like this. So there's a bracelet, or the pendant. The kits are still available. It's on our website. If you order it today, we can get it out tomorrow and have it to you for this weekend, hopefully. The post office is running a little better. And then in a couple weeks, we have the anniversary pendant. So to celebrate our 1-year anniversary, which is coming up because it's this week 50, we're doing a free Zoom, and anybody can join the Zoom, but the kits are also available. And again, it's a great way to show your support for what we're doing here. So for now, that's it. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you enjoyed that. It's, you know, these are quick little projects that will get you through the week. How's that? Saturday's class, I apologize, I mistakenly posted that for the wrong time, but Saturday's class is 10 to 1 if you would like to join us. And what is going on? Oh, and on Wednesday, we're going to finish up the step-by-step surprise radiant project. By the way, I have made an executive decision regarding step-by-step surprise projects. There will only be 3 more after this. We're going to finish at 20 surprise projects, and then we're going to turn to something new. I don't know what yet, but we will do something new going forward. And anyway, so that's Wednesday, and then Saturday the Zoom, and I'll be back next week for another Motley Metal project. So thanks for hanging out. Thanks for your support and sharing all of these videos and liking our videos because it's important. Anyway, have a great rest of the week, everyone.